Hey guys, this is going to be a bit of a new segment I'm trying out where I separate my reading of books into different videos. So this will be the first part of that segment, and to hit it off I'm going to read the Myths and Legends, The Ash Widow, which coincidentally gives me a quest to go and kill it. Myths and Legends Volume 3, The Ash Widow, composed by Archmagister Gawain Gothu 1112 at AST. One of the perhaps most eerie and gruesome legends of Enderall is the one surrounding the Ash Widow. The Ash Widow was a charming young woman who had been promised to one of the Sublimes as his companion. Her hair was long and coloured in reddish blonde in likeness of late autumn leaves, and her eyes were tinted in the deep blue of the sea. She was wise and well-read, played the lute and enjoyed large popularity at her family's estate. In no small part due to her cheerful and buoyant character, her future companion, the son of the rich count, also was of high repute, and when the two swore each other companionship, the bards were singing many a song in praise of the two lovers' dignity. But not long after, the newlywed wife noticed discrepancies in her husband's character. Though at feasts with other sublimes present, he always spoke gently of those treading the lower paths. His wife heard him tell different stories entirely after a few cups of wine. He held no sympathy for craftsmen, artisans, and worse still, those dwelling in the Undercity. There is a reason as to why Malthus has blessed us with our path, he said. Our blood is worth more. If initially it oh, I'm sorry, Malthus, god damn it. I'm so glad I killed you. If initially it were such words that had made the young woman feel anxious, words quickly turned into deeds. He had the legs of a stable boy who had saddled his horse incorrectly broken. Oh. And knocked out the serving girl's teeth after she had spilled wine on his coat. When the young woman confronted her husband about this, he merely regarded her dismissively and walked away. Shit, this guy's an ass. As the years passed, the woman's sorrow grew with each new winter. Often she thought about running away. However, her husband's crimes were not directed at her, and he could even show noble behavior at times. She did not dare to put these thoughts into practice. After all, where could she have fled? One day, however, things would take a turn for the worse. A young, half-Arturian mid-servant had begun her service in the castle. She was hardly 16 winters old, and shy of nature. But the woman noticed her companion's glances and stares, filled with a mixture of malevolence and a lust that sent the shivers down her spine. Soon thereafter the woman realized how the young servant was always avoiding her glance. The head bowed as if she was terribly ashamed in her presence. Her companion, too, came to their bed increasingly absent and unenthusiastic. Day and night she pictured to herself that her husband might do to the girl until she decided to hide in the wardrobe on the day the half-eterna was supposed to clean the chamber. Before, she told her companion that she would seek out the peddlers visiting the region near the castle, as they did every full moon. As soon as the servant had shut the door with his shaking hands, the latch rushed down. From within the wardrobe the woman saw her companion standing in the doorframe, panting with excitement. The half-eterna girl stood still, frightened and without any sign of resistance as the man grabbed her. It seemed that she had accepted her fate long ago. After being rudely pushed to the wall where she hit her head, something unexpected happened. A wave of magic energy took hold of the man. The traumatizing event must have woken the young girl's magic talents. Magical bands entangled the man's right hand and covered it in darkness. Angry and surprised, he grabbed her throat, and the shocked girl was no longer able to keep up the spell unknown to her. When the dark veils dissolved suddenly, only a malformed claw remained where previously the man's hand had been. Irritated by his body's wild magical deformation, the man waited for a few seconds, thinking. Though his healthy hand had remained at the servant's throat, he concluded that he would be unable to continue walking the path of the Sublimes when soon all the world would know that he had laid his hands on a witch. His previous life would be at an abrupt end. So, he took hold of the glowing oil lamp, But before he was able to throw it at the still petrified servant, his wife stormed out of the wardrobe to stop him. But it was too late. The blazing oil poured on the floor, and in moments the woman's and young girl's clothes began to burn. In the moment of their death, the servant's wild magic powers merged with the deceived woman's desire for revenge to form a powerful and horrible spirit being, the Ashen Widow. After the fire was quenched, the man chopped off his deformed claw-like hand with a woodcutter's axe. To his family and the other ones present at the court, he insisted that the half-eternal servant had attacked his wife with wild magic out of envy, burning down a part of the room. He had tried to rescue his wife, but his hand had been burned with the magic fire, forcing him to leave his wife and remove the remains of his charred hand. The Count's son was able to preserve his good name, continue with the sublime path, and finally succeeded his father. But up to the end of his life he was unable to find a new companion. And each night he encountered the Ashen Widow, who robbed him of his sleep and poisoned his dreams. His life as a count and lord of the castle was a miserable one. And when his last hour approached, he realized that it would long be forbidden for him to enter the internal paths, and with remorse he anticipated his next life, which, in accord with Malthus's will, he would have to spend in the Undercity. Yeah, you jackass. Author's notes. The myths claim that the Ashen Widow's ghost still walks among the castle's ruins. Those foolish enough to bring her husband's claw to the old castle will be able to raise her from the dead. We can only speculate on the claw's current location, but it is said that it still reaches high prices among antique dealers. Again and again, one of them sells the horrid remains for good money after acquiring it for little from disheartened and ashamed adventurers who did not turn out to be daring enough to conjure up the Ash Widow's spirit. So we're gonna go find and kill this Ash Widow, huh? Interesting.